This time on Hot Bird 406, we're working on the Heritage. We're going to be changing out the fuel gauge this time. It's supposed to be an easy installation, but we'll find out. Stay tuned. Okay. This is the new fuel gauge that we're going to get. As you can see here already on the Harley, the gas cap is a very lovely Willie G skull. And it kind of contrasts with the analog gauge. So we're going to be switching out to a matching skull gauge where the teeth in the skull are little LEDs that light up to show the fuel level. This is supposed to be an easy installation. We're going to find out. The next thing we got to do is we're going to put the bike up on the bike stand. You don't have to. Underneath here is a wiring harness that we're going to show you, and basically we have to disconnect the wiring harness and pull this out, the wires up through with it, and fish these down through and plug them back in. It's not quite that simple, but it should be fairly easy. We're going to put it on the bike stand just to make it a little easier for us to do. I don't want to sit on the ground. I'm old now and my joints don't work like they used to, so I'm going to sit on a stool, and it'll also be easier for us to get some pictures. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back as soon as we get the bike up on the stand. We've got Delilah up on the bike stand now, and this, coming out of this tube here, these wires, that's the wire that we need to get access to. So we're just going to pull it out of this little clip, and here's the connector. Now you can see that as big as what this connector is, it's not going to make it through this little tube. So the first thing we have to do is disconnect this connector. So we take a little screwdriver and just put it in here, and we can pry this apart, and this is what we have to work with. Now Harley has done something nice with these. These pins can be replaced. Can you see inside there? Above each of these pins, there are these little square holes. If we take and put something like this Cornwell pick down inside of this, now before we get to that, we've got to disconnect the harness on the back. There's a little clip here and a little clip here, and then this will open up. So we got to pry this out, and we pry this side out, and then that folds down like that, and it'll allow these to come out. Okay, now we can get into the bottom of these and pry upward. There will be a little plastic lock that's in the bottom of these little holes that are square, and we want to get the pick under it, and it will release. This keeps slipping off for some reason. We get in the bottom of these and we pry up, and that will release. These are being very sticky. And there's the last one. This way we can reuse the connector if we need to. If the connector that came with the new, Jake, why don't you open this up for me? If the connector that came with the new fuel gauge is different than what my harness is, I've still got this. I've retained its integrity. Nothing's been destroyed. If you want to, you could cut these wires as well and splice them in. But like I said before, Harley makes this so that you can disassemble these. Sometimes they're a little sticky. The black one was really tough to get out of there. But the others came out pretty good. So now the next step is to lift up on the fuel gauge, and it should separate and come off. Now, I don't know how hard this is going to come off because I've never done it, but it said firmly. Well, that wasn't hard at all. And now the wires will come out. And now I see why Harley did what they did with the new one. I asked the question, why, and let me show you the new fuel gauge has a connector here. And silly me, I just assumed that Harley from the factory would have had a connector on theirs, but they don't, it's hardwired. Because I was thinking, why in the world can't you just unplug this one and plug this one in? We've got 3 wires, the same color, but at least the secondary fuel gauge has a plug on it. So if there's ever a problem, you don't have to go through this wiring issue. You just have to unplug it, change it out, plug it back in. So Jake, here, you can have that. Now, want to see the connector? Yes, let's see if this is the same as the Harley factory connector. They are the same, exactly. Okay, you can have, I don't know which one is the old one now. Don't think it matters. This is the old one. Okay, now, the next thing we have to do is we have to fish these wires down in that tube, which might not be an easy task. Because by fish them into the tube, I mean cram them into the tube. And there they are, out the bottom. Now I'm not going to install that just yet. Jacob, I need the instructions that show which wire goes into which area of the plug. You know, you should be able to just insert these in and they will lock in automatically. So we're going to see which one goes where, and then we will be right back. Okay, orange pin has been installed. The one beside it is yellow. The next one is empty, and the last one is black. So yellow is next. We're installing it. Gently, you'll feel the pin, find the opening at the other end that it should go in. Do not force the pin to go in. If it doesn't go in, it's because it's not in the right place. It'll go in, and it'll click, and you'll feel it click. When you look at the inside, you'll see the pin sticking through. The last one here is the black. We'll get it in. And there. All 3 pins are in. Now we're just going to lock them in place here with this little clamp, which just folds over and clicks in place. Now we're going to connect the wiring harness back the way it was. Connected. And we're going to put that right back up here in the clamp. Hold that in place. The last thing we have to do up here is just to install the gauge down in the tank. So here it is, wired and connected, and all we have to do is gently push this down in, making sure it's lined up. Well, actually, before we do that, let's just turn on the ignition and see if it works. And that's how much fuel we have. We've got one tooth lit up. So it is working. I want to show this again. Show this from this angle here. I'm going to turn this on and you'll see all the teeth light up. And now it's going to show the fuel level because it was pretty low. And then as it fills up, these will light up. It's pretty cool. Okay, now we just have to finish installing this. It's lined up. That's it. We're done. How about that? This was an easy installation for once. A lot of times on Harley's equipment, you get accessories and aftermarket. They're a little more complex. This was really easy. The instructions were very good. Everything works. And now we're just going to have to fill it up with gasoline and run it back out. That should only take about 300 miles, I think. 300 miles. That'd be a good ride, Jake, huh?
Yep.
300-mile ride.
Mine is a little longer though.
Well, we got the same size tanks. Thank you for watching this episode of Hot Bird 406. We'll see you next time. Until then, remember, love God, love each other, love your ride.